As you can see here, just a quick video of us prepping the board for the letters. So we knew we were going to cut the letters out. We knew we didn't want to paint all those boards individually. We wanted them to be black and we wanted the backer to be stained. So I was working on painting both of these sheets. We ended up painting two, even though we only needed one. And then we'll jump into how we actually design that. And now we have a whole extra sheet of black painted wood. We use black a lot, so that'll be great. And now let's jump into how we design the letters for the second part. So now that we've prepped the boards for the actual cutting out of the letters, because these were just score marks. Now we probably could have used a template for this, but we didn't because it was just too much wood to waste. So I didn't want to cut this out twice and waste, 10 more feet of wood essentially. So what we did instead was just scored on them, of course, as you saw in the first video. Now what we need to do is cut out of those 3-foot pieces the actual letters. So what we did is I drew a box essentially that was as wide as my wood was. So we were 1,000 wide by 900 millimeters tall, which is pretty close. And then we copied all of the letters over. And then I used a tool called SVGNest. So if you're familiar with SVGNest, what it allows you to do is drop everything in and then nest that into one shape. So quick overview of how you'll actually do that is you go ahead and select everything, and then you're going to export what you have selected into an SVG and choose where you're going to save it. I'm going to throw this in downloads just so I can get to it a little easier, and we're just going to call it nested letters. And then once that exports, you're going to come over to a browser and go to svgnest.com. Again, SVGNest is super easy to use. So essentially all you have to do is upload your SVG here. And then for some reason it didn't like that, even though it is an SVG. There it goes. Once you upload it, you're going to choose what the shape that you're nesting into is. So it says click the outline to use as the bin. That's going to be the square because that's the shape of our wood. And then you're going to change your settings to do whatever you want in terms of spacing. This is in millimeters. I ended up choosing 8 millimeters, and I ended up turning my curve tolerance, which just helps with like the S's and the things with lots of curves in them to make sure they don't overlap. I changed that to 0.2, but it is quite a bit slower when you lower that tolerance down. So I'm going to leave it at 0.3 just to give you an overview of what this looks like. And then we're going to save those settings and start that nest. Now, this does have to do a lot of rearranging. So sometimes this takes a minute or two to actually fully place this. So what I'll do is I'll pause this and I will come back when it's done nesting and we'll show you what